And we're live. Okay. Hey guys, this is the first stream of 2020, and today I'm not going to show you any new gameplay or any tech specifications, but rather I wanted to briefly highlight what we really enjoyed last year and what's the plan for us in the coming year. The best thing that happened to us in 2019 was getting a lot of valuable feedback from all of the people who played the limited early access version and the super limited version before. It's not about hearing good words from people who play and reading things like, "Oh, keep the updates coming and you're great," but it's the quality of the feedback. It's the summary of what people felt is lacking in the game and what did they like in the game. And the discussions that we had on the forums and sometimes in Discord, where players were not really afraid of sort of venturing out and thinking out loud and saying, what if this changed in the game? What has this changed in the game? Mostly there has been some feedback that went like, I don't like this, do that, but do this, do that is not really a good approach. A much more valuable approach is understanding what is the experience in the head of a player and then comparing it to what we wanted to do and where it did not match, analyzing why and whether or not making something we wanted to make will solve this problem. So in this sense, player feedback helped us shorten the development cycle by many months by giving us a preview of what the reaction and what the experience could be if you do this or that feature. And in terms of this year, the coming year, the biggest thing that I personally will work on is changing the game towards what we originally wanted to make, but not in the sense that we went this way and the game went this way, but in terms of making the game fun. And I think right now the game is not really very much fun, and throwing more content and throwing more events and creatures and visuals and features like trading is not going to solve it. As much as I hate to say this, but I think that if we just scale up, if we just escalate and add more features and more content, it will not change the very fact that the current core loop where you send the party and then wait for the party and send the party and wait for the party, it's not gonna get any more fun. We have to change it. And a few ideas that we will be pursuing starting from next week are the idea of breaking the whole map into hexed tiles and assigning each hex with a resource and with an event and with a quest that can help you solve this event. Right now we feel that the map is a little bit out there and we need to make it more engaging and more interactive. And how I see this is that you move from one hex to another, and as you reach the hex, you go through a certain event that you know is going to happen there, like snakes or let's say panzerlings, and you can resolve it by taking it out completely and then cleaning that hex and then making it possible for parties just to go through the hex without the hassle of having some events. And once we break the whole map into this, the control over where you are, how you move your parties will go up and it'll be more fun. The bigger change is the transition that I'd like to make to a turn-based game. Not the hour-based game, but turn-based game, meaning that let's say we break down the whole day into 4 turns, 6 hours each, and you could let your parties sleep for 2 turns and work for 2 turns, and I'd like to see what happens if you let players make decisions. You're sending a party, the party goes into the cave, and you can see that real time. You can see the party in the cave, and there is an illustration and there's an event, and then you can see the decision that the party wants to make. And you can override that decision and say, you guys want to run away, but I'm telling you, go ahead and explore. And that should bring some interaction between the characters, as you occasionally will force the characters to do something they don't like to do. And that will feed into the management of the whole magic energy thing, as the more energy you have, the more you can be directly controlling the parties. But if you expend too much, if you have too many parties, then you will not really have the energy to change their decisions. So you have to balance the expansion with your desire for precision, for control. And I'm pretty sure that once we do those two changes and we throw in loyalty system, the game will become much more fun. In the sense of skipping turn and seeing the next turn, and all the other mechanics, they'll start to make sense. If you lose time right now in the game because the party decided to go around, so what? Time is not really of any significant value. If you lose the same time in the turn-based system, then you just lose a couple of turns. You cannot do anything with that party for a couple of turns. And then the other mechanics, in the sense of the party getting out of control because you pushed them too hard and they now hate you and they will not listen to your orders, that's the other mechanic that will shine. Stamina, the same thing. If you want the party to do something real fast, you can push them. You can make them go through the night. You can make them, skip all the campings. But at the cost, they will get tired. They will get tired faster. They will get more sad. And then at the same time, I would like to see a version where we remove all the micro mechanics, like hunger or sleep. It's really, we're building a game with a scope of years, and then there's this mechanic which restores every night. And that feels like a, imbalance, that you play for 600 days, but you also have to consider the implications of hunger, which anyway goes away every day, and so on. So the high-level idea for what we're going to do in January is we're going to stop throwing in more content, because currently, if you throw in more content, it's not going to change the core loop. And we're going to try to implement 3 different changes. And one change will be transitioning to turn-based system. The other will be transitioning the map to hex-based map, and then removing all the noise, all the clutter, all the little mechanics that don't really make sense. Like, for example, sleeping bags. We've discussed for a long time that right now sleeping bags are just something that you give to every person going out. It's not fun. It's just like a, automated thing. Click, 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 give this, give that, and if you don't give it, then what are the consequences? If the consequences are insignificant, then just skip it. Just remove this item from the game. If the consequences are huge, then maybe they should auto-equip themselves. So removing the clutter will help us to catch the fun in the game, and once we catch the fun, then it's fine. Then we can throw in more content, then we can scale it up and so on. And so to summarize, our release in early access this year depends on the time when we look at the game, play the game, and say, hey, this is fun. I feel in control. I'm making decisions. And I like it. Because we can always add more content. We can always make it non-linear. We can always throw in more spells, more items, more regions. But all of that doesn't really replace the fact of the core loop, which either is fun or is not fun. And with the previous game, we managed to deliver a fun experience that people keep playing and playing and playing. And with the Spire of Sorcery, we got lost along the way in this kind of lull of adding systems and hoping that once we add a lot of systems, things will click in, but they didn't. And so we have to go back and say, well, it's not about the systems. It's about the way that you control the game. And that's about it. And I think in the next couple of weeks, you will see probably more content, as we'll talk about the content we make, while in the background we'll start making this big transition to a different kind of control for player. And if you'll follow Discord, you'll see, probably you already saw one of the hex-based map images, so you'll see a further development of that. And as always, we're very happy to see your feedback and read your feedback and join any discussions on the forums. So thanks for sticking with us in 2019, and I really, really hope that in a few months we'll be super happy to present to you the version that will say, hey, that version is great. It's going to keep you up all night. It's going to keep you coming back and saying, well, what if I replay this? What if I send them here? What if I, change the direction of the party? Because right now we really lack that. We lack the engagement and we lack the interactivity, and we'd like to bring that back. And we'd like to give you the option of turning around or going there, finding a cave and going into the cave and exploring it, rather than going there and then back, and then someone else goes to the cave and they go back and then they go craft and so on. There's a lot of automation right now in the game, and we don't really think this is what makes the game great. We think that it's more of an engagement and decision making, and we're going to work on bringing that into the game. So thanks for sticking with us, and see you next week. And I'm not sure who will be streaming next week, but we'll see. So see you next week probably.